Greetings, everyone, and welcome to our webinar on how to reclaim your CAD budget with BricsCAD. We're going to cover some general aspects about the software and see how migrating some of your CAD users to BricsCAD can have a very significant impact on your CAD budget overall. All right, so just a quick introduction. Who is TAVCO? Who are we? Why do we care about BricsCAD? Well, we are an independent dealer of AEC technology solutions. We're based in Austin, Texas. We do have a sales office in Houston, but through our digital efforts, we really support companies nationwide. And in regards to the solutions that we offer, Canon wide format systems, plotters, and multifunction systems is in there, Leica 3D scanners, including the BLK 360 and the handheld BLK 3D photogrammetry imager, and of course the BricsCAD suite of CAD solutions. So here's what we're going to go over today. You're going to learn about who benefits the most from the info that we'll share. You'll get an overview of what BricsCAD is, give you a little more insight on that and how it can save you some money. That's what we want to look at. And then we'll follow up with some action items, some things that you can do to get started with BricsCAD right away. So first off, who benefits the most from today's information? It's pretty obvious. Companies that utilize AutoCAD or similar CAD platform for 2D workflows. There's some 3D modeling in there. BricsCAD is pretty expansive, including a BIM and a mechanical suite, but we are going to be talking primarily about, the 2D component, which is BricsCAD Lite. So other people that subscribe to the bundled Autodesk AEC collections who may not be fully utilizing all of the applications that you get with that bundle. We've just talked with some folks that, just by default sign up for these AEC collections, and they find that they're just not maximizing their effort with those. So people that need a familiar solution for fit and finish, detail work, just really production type drafting, BricsCAD is going to be a great solution for you there. So when you think about what companies are really thinking about today, we live in weird times. Workflows have changed, and COVID and remote work and everything else. So it's brought some things to the forefront. And we're actually using some third-party data here just to kind of compare and contrast. And Procore recently did a survey about this in another presentation, and their findings are really quite striking. So when you look at important topics that they polled people with, if you look, budget and job costing was the #1 concern of companies across the board, and then cost controls was #3. So when you look at two of the top 3 concerns, again, across a wide swath of companies of what they're concerned about, it's related to cost and seeing how they can cut cost. A huge part, obviously, of an AEC's company, of their overhead is technology, which is going to include their CAD software. And again, depending on what you're subscribing for, what you use in-house, that can be tens of thousands of dollars per year. So when looking to maximize things, we just want to bring some key points for you to think about. And that is, are you receiving optimum value from your current CAD investment? Do you feel that your users are maximizing the features of your current subscription level? And then if you could cut cost, how would reducing your CAD overhead help your business, help your bottom line, and make you more profitable and successful? So obviously we are a little biased here, and we think that BricsCAD is certainly part of that plan that can make that happen. And so if you're not familiar, let me just kind of give you a little background here on what BricsCAD is. It's a CAD software, looks and feels just like AutoCAD. And I think that some folks will find that shocking, but I'm telling you, it's basically the same program. It's a full design platform, developed to be very cost effective, and fully customizable. It uses a familiar environment. So when you look at the screen, the ribbons, the panels, the commands, everything is there that you're used to. It uses industry standard DWG files. And you can, this is really cool, you can keep all of your customizations, all right? Blocks, tool palettes, custom layouts, Lisp routines, all of that stuff out of AutoCAD is compatible with BricsCAD. So I think it's important to think about the symmetry between those two platforms. And BricsCAD is developed by Brixis, who's been creating innovative 2D and 3D design tools for the last 2 decades. All right, they're part of the global company Hexagon, who's decided to invest in Brixis because they see the future potential of BricsCAD and is helping to work that into their whole suite of products. And they think that there's a really untapped market with some people that are looking for other options besides just defaulting to AutoCAD all the time. So BricsCAD also includes some really powerful and intelligent tools that help you automate processes. Just a few examples here. Blockify lets you create a block from a set of geometry and looks for similar geometries across your drawing and to instantly convert things to blocks. The quad cursor gives you a dashboard of recently used and other common commands right from the cursor. And then some other commands in there, copy guided, move guided, allow you to copy or move entities using surrounding geometry as guides. And we will cover that more in some future videos or future webinars where we'll kind of take a deep dive into how some of these tools work. Today, the focus is really more on the financial aspect of the software and not so much on the technical aspect, but we'll address that at a later time. But the key takeaway is to think about BricsCAD and AutoCAD as essentially being the same program, not look at them as two different things because they look very similar, they function very similar to one another. As a matter of fact, when it comes to commands, they share over 1,700 commands. So you're going to be able to jump from one to the other one without a whole lot of onboarding and special training. All right, so now we want to get into how BricsCAD can save you money. And it comes down to one thing primarily: licensing. BricsCAD has the most flexible licensing policy in the industry, bar none. And while other software companies force you into mandatory annual subscriptions, BricsCAD gives you the choice to rent it or to buy it and own it forever. Plus, BricsCAD still offers network licenses. All right, so that I know that's something that's rubbed some people wrong that have used the network licenses of AutoCAD in the past, because that is taken away. And now they've gone to that named user license, so everybody has their own subscription. But sometimes you just need a small pool of licenses to share in a workspace or share in an enterprise, and BricsCAD is going to be a great option to do that. Now, this is a snapshot of what the AutoCAD subscription is, taken right from the Autodesk website. So you can see that it's subscription only. So you're paying this amount every year. Now, full disclosure, we are looking at the full license of AutoCAD here, not AutoCAD LT. And right off the bat, they're giving you 3 different options. You can pay upfront for 3 years, pay annually, pay monthly. And then they also have this token program, which is the other tab up there, which has been around for a while, reserved for large enterprise accounts, but they're kind of making that available to everyone. But people that I've talked to are not really too keen on this type of plan, because you can burn through a lot of tokens in a heartbeat, especially if you're jumping in the program often. So what we find is that most people generally do an annual subscription for the $1,775. Pretty significant investment, and this is per user. Okay, so the other thing that Autodesk allows you to do is to subscribe to a collection. So if you want a nice little bundle of different applications, then they discount it heavily for you, but it's still a hefty price tag. over $3,000 a year. And look, this is useful if you're truly are capitalizing and using these multiple applications in the suite. However, if you're spending all of your time or the majority of your time in AutoCAD, then you're leaving a lot of money on the table. And maybe not everyone on your team needs access to all of these programs. So let's look at what it looks like here. So this is comparing an AutoCAD, a full license of AutoCAD annual subscription versus the compatible BricsCAD Pro, buying a perpetual seat and then keeping it current with maintenance. So again, the workflow is the same. You're going to stay current with all the updates. You're going to stay current with all the latest versions. And then what you can see is just over 1 year, there's already a cost savings, but check out that top gray bar on both of those metrics there, because that is the cost difference over 5 years. So you're looking at saving close to $7,000 per user over 5 years. Now, look, if you're a one-man or one-woman operation, you can probably quickly look at that and maybe justify that. But you think about it, if you have 10 licenses, 20 licenses, 30 licenses, now we're talking real money. We're talking a significant impact to your overall technology in CAD budget. And remember, both give you the same functionality, 2D, 3D design. Both of these can run Lisp and third-party applications. It's just a matter of which one do you want to spend more money on. Now, this is where it gets really interesting, though, is because when we look at the comparison against AEC collections. So again, we're looking at a perpetual seat of BricsCAD Pro. You buy it, you own it forever, you keep it current with maintenance, versus buying all of the collection of applications from Autodesk. If you're using all of those and you need to bounce into Revit and Navisworks and things like that, then you're justified, all right? And there's no argument there. But again, if you are primarily just doing your detail work and your 2D drafting, and you're consuming an AEC collection license for that, over 5 years, you're spending over $13,000. Now, again, think about this. If this is spread out over 10 users, you're talking about $130,000 that you could be recovering, right? So that's kind of how that looks at that against AEC collections. Now, it's important, look, we're realists here, okay? We realize the solution is not black and white. It's not about, okay, I'm dumping all of my AutoCAD and I'm going to put everything into BricsCAD, and making that switch, can be hard. Think about like Apple and Android. You just can't jump from one platform to another. So we realize that that's how it's going to be. However, you can plan and you can implement some of this strategically. And so we're asking people to take a look at is to look at some of those drafting seats that you have, maybe siphon off some of those AutoCAD, full license or AutoCAD LT subscriptions, all right? And change some of that into a BricsCAD Pro license, or maybe even a BricsCAD Lite if you don't need the added features. But you're going to save yourself a ton of money just by doing that, and maybe incrementally it makes more sense to do that. So the big question you have to ask yourself, when does your CAD subscription renew? Because if it's going to be within the next 90 days, you should probably start taking a look at this and doing some exploring and seeing, what you can do to save some money. So now we're at the action item phase here. Some things you can do to start, exploring things with BricsCAD. And we always tell folks the simplest thing to do is just try it. Download a free trial. We have a link to do that. Spread it across your team. Let everybody download it. Everybody try it. Get your feet wet with it. If you know AutoCAD, then I mean, within a couple hours of just poking around, you're going to be fully functioning with this software. We're happy to put together a custom quote for you. So if you have a nice little bundle of seats and see what we can do to, make that a nice package for you, we're happy to put that together. And you can always just explore our online store at TAVCOtech.com. At this point, that kind of wraps up everything that I needed to initially say. So we have room for some questions here. And, Jim, do you have anything that has come in?
No, sir.
Okay, well, short and sweet as promised. And we thank you so much for being part of this today and, checking out BricsCAD. It is truly no compromise professional CAD software, familiar, it's fast, it's intelligent. And we thank you for your time. You guys have a good one. Take care.